What's going on, everybody? Core Conversations for Friday. Dad goals as always, and we are freestyling today, and we're going to talk about the future of Pilates. Do we have something to prove? And I am really depending on your comments and thoughts and joining me on screen today for this conversation, because we're going to have a good time with it. I want to piggyback on some of the conversations we've had this week. I wanted to acknowledge the amazing guests we've had. We had a new co-host on Wednesday. It's been good. So it's been good. Miss Lindsay Ray, how are you? And so lots of stuff going on. So I'm gonna unpack this title in a few minutes once more people get in the chat. Lindsay, though, at the same time, if you have any comments, any like workshops, stuff that's going on, I'd love to hear what's going on. You have a clothing line or something too, right? They have something as well. If you got a second to join me on screen, if you're free, client not coming in, whatever, I'd love to just catch up with you, just hear how you're doing while I sing and dance while people come. So give me a thumbs up if you want to join me. I'm going to do my housekeeping stuff in the meantime here. So Core Conversations podcast is on YouTube. Let's do that. Lucid Tea, that's it. That's right. I love it when Pilates people have a commodity or a product that they hustle as well. And I always have such an admiration for that, because that's a different kind of grind altogether. Okay, no problem. You don't want to join me like with your sheets up to your neck? It's all good. But yes, Lucid Tea, I'll make sure I follow that. I think I am following already, but love to hear more about that and to cheer on. So check out Lucid Tea. I'll make sure I'll put that in the chat after as well. And what else? Okay, there, sweet. All right, Sharon, hi. Marina, hi. Marina, where are you located? I was always curious to see how people connect with us. And we had Michael Johnson on yesterday. If you don't know who Michael Johnson is, he's a Matt Fit NYC. He is an original teacher, has been teaching for over 40 years, trained by Ramana, trained in yoga, brings a bunch of different tools from his own toolbox to the Pilates mat and helps people, understands fashion in a special way, understands movement, and just points of contact in a special way. And it's just a celebration of all of our understanding, all of our knowledge, hearing him talk. I really believe that how we learn and what we bring into Pilates and what we learn after Pilates, all these things meld into our idea of Pilates. And I wish I made that the title, actually. I might even do that another day. The idea of Pilates. Writing that down here. The idea of Pilates. So, Lindsay, if you want to join me in the chat here. Siege for Greatness, what's going on? Stefan, Ellie, and Nasser. Good to see you. One of the comments that was made yesterday was that Pilates is an idea, and then we are following someone's idea of Pilates. I would use the word interpretation. I've used the word brand. There's other ways to capture this idea that we're following an idea. And the way that Michael said it yesterday was that we get so enraptured in someone else's idea that we don't present our own real independent thought to how we're going to present the work, how the work's going to have expression through us, how we are going to use the work. And maybe it's because we get so caught up in, if it's authentic or not, if it's contemporary or not, if this is true to its roots, if this is whatever it is, and we get caught up in all that stuff. And it's a bigger conversation, which I want to have today because I think that it's confusing. I think that it's weird that there's this tug of war between keeping the origin and giving it modern day expression without the modern day expression being so diluted that we lose the origin. So somewhere in there is the ethos of what we're trying to communicate to people. And then everyone lies somewhere on that methodology, on that continuum where it's like, I'm at this end where I don't care what you think about anything, I'm just helping people. And you're at this end saying, no, it has to be these exercises in this order, full stop. And that is one of the things that when I got into Pilates, coming from the personal training world, and growing up in churches, I felt like I was just joining another religion. And we have the Catholics and the Baptists and the Charismatics all within Christianity. I'm not even talking about other religions in the world. Within Christianity, you have all these denominations, and all the denominations have a different way of expressing their faith in Pilates. So, which denomination is right? No one can answer that question, or everybody can answer that question. But the reality is that these different denominations of Pilates or Christianity, or however you want to use the analogy, everyone has an expression, but everyone comes back to the same source. And that's why I can't use different religions for this analogy, because if I'm a Baptist, a Pentecostal, Catholic, Protestant, Anglican, Episcopalian, Brethren in Christ, Church of God, you know what I mean? Like, it can name off all these different denominations within Christianity, and they all point back to God. They all point back to Jesus. Contemporary, classical, Fletcher, Romana, Sean Gallagher. You drop these names, and everyone has someone that they believe in. Back in the day, my question would be, what is the main thing? The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Would anybody like to join me on screen and explain to me what they think the main thing is? I'll wait. Take a sip of my coffee. Julie Driver, how are you, my friend? Lindsay made a fantastic point for the chat. It said, I wish we looked at them like as philosophies and not give them hierarchy. Not give them hierarchy. Right. Well, there's exactly the hierarchy is the problematic part. Julie, if you have a moment to join me on screen, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. As someone who has, Letitia, hi. As someone who is using that to work with equestrians, like you weave things into your work that are appropriate for the subjects that you're working with. Is that contemporary? Is that an iteration of? Is it wrong? Is that a deviation? Is it true? Is it expression? Is it iteration? Those are the things. Carol Lamb, good to see you. So yes, so if anyone would like to join me on screen, the question is, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. So when I say that, I'm talking about the different expressions of Pilates that can have different iterations or philosophies, as Lindsay just said, and which one is true? Does that even matter? What is the essence? Does that even matter? And what is the thing that we need to capture regardless of how we give it expression? The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. What is the main thing? Request to join. I'd love to have someone either just write it in the chat or jump on screen. Kira, if you got a minute, I'd love to say hi. Julie, I know you're driving, picking your kids up is all good. I had this public Pilates this year in the chat, and it was this fantastic spectrum of guests this week with someone who's been teaching for a few years, and then the next day, Michael Johnson, who has 40 years under his belt. The perspectives are the same and different at the same time, and it's pretty cool to see. It's refreshing to see that there's still this passion and expression for the work in both people, regardless of whether you're old or new in this game. So it's pretty cool. I'm taking my time this morning. I'm gonna read Julie's comment. So she can't come on screen, but she could type while she's driving. Hopefully she's at a light or something. Tough. For years, I didn't use gym balls because that wasn't a gym ball. There wasn't a gym ball in Joseph's studio, but actually they were really brilliant for helping equestrians understand Pilates. So Julie Driver does Pilates for people who ride horses and all kinds of stuff like that. And I just butchered her whole business, but that's something like that is what she does. So what she's saying there is, if we get locked in what we learned and how we've been taught, we look back at these things and say, I'm not allowed to do X. Oh, say hi to Tom for me. What's going on, Tracy? I'm not wearing 2XU, the brand that I always wear. I'm not wearing Pilates gear. I'm wearing Adidas Team Canada shirt. It just felt like wearing something different today. So, not that I'm hating on the other brands. Thank you for everybody. So yeah, so anyone want to tackle this? Anyone want to join me on screen and just wrestle with what the main thing is? The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And Tracy, I still have your hoodie right here behind me. Mm-hmm. I talk about this all the time. You see that in there? Blue? There you go. Got it. So it feels like the main thing is Pilates principles more and more. Okay. So if the main thing is Pilates principles, and then all the heads would say that those Pilates principles came after Joseph Pilates, someone else put them in there, maybe to put it in a teacher training program, maybe to make some money off it, maybe to unpack it in a different way. Maybe that's true, but maybe that's post-Joseph Pilates, and that's not actually the essence. Or maybe that's someone capturing his idea and just labeling it a different way. Public Pilates, you're allowed to join me on screen even though you're on earlier this week if you want to jump in. Tisha, you're more than welcome. Or Tracy, if we could just change gears and want to give us a quick tour of your new spot if you're in the space. This isn't even my content for today. I actually have some totally different content I want to touch on, but this is an interesting conversation. Yes. Pilates is going to join us. Let's get it. Hi, my friend.
Hi!
Look at that sign. Boom, in lights. Look at you.
What's up, everyone?
Nice.
How are you?
Great. You know what's funny? Like, this is the funny thing with like Facebook and Instagram. Like, I haven't talked to you in a while, but like, I know what you had for dinner yesterday,
I
right?
know.
You see it in
I
people's
know.
pictures, right? So I've been watching how like how your space is coming along, and like it looks awesome. So can you give us a tour?
Yeah. So this is my storefront. So I'm having like a lot of problems getting my certificate of use because I have to get a change of use, which means I have to go through the city, which is like a month for them to respond to an email, and then another month to get like an action happening. So it's whatever. So I don't have my signage yet. A guy is coming today to talk about that, which you also need permits for here in Miami.
Yes.
But I've started to get set up at least. So I have some of the store stuff.
Amazing.
And I'm working on that again today.
Yeah.
Some more store stuff there. And then when you come in, of course, I got my return to life welcome mat.
I have mine out in front of my house actually in winter. It's standing up actually, just there you go for your reviews.
I put that together myself. Very proud. I learned how to use an electric drill. Beautiful.
Look at you. So proud.
I can even do anchors, you guys. I can do anchors. Let's see what else. So this is the room. So that's the blue, which I knew I wanted navy blue because I wanted it to have some kind of a color because my equipment, I'll show you the equipment, is all this color.
Yes.
So I knew I wanted a color, but my existing clients who've been coming in to see the space, they want the white room. They're like, no, it looks bigger. We want the white room. Don't do it. Don't color it. But I wanted color. So then somebody was like, well, why don't you do like the entry wall?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did there.
Love it.
Very happy.
That's great.
So then you come in.
Pretty.
I have a contrology reformer on the way. I'm going to order some mats and I need a pedal. But
yes.
That's the studio right now.
That's awesome.
And I got my plants to add some character. I finally got everything hung up. This is the best part. I don't know how to turn this around. Hold on. Okay.
I saw that yesterday. I actually screenshot that, and I'm gonna show my my business partner here because I'm totally gonna steal that.
I'm gonna show you guys what we did. So because my last one, I don't know if I showed you, the last one was like wood, and it was a lot more sturdy. But these are on Amazon, these little guys, and it looks better on a white wall than some big piece of wood. And it's just little, these are Amazon. They come in a pack of 6, and they fit. This actually, on the baby barrel, it sits in there.
Yeah.
Now, this barrel, it doesn't. It will sit on there, but not as securely. So for this one, I got these guys, also from Amazon. And I want to say they're like, these have like a 50-pound each weight limit. Okay. I did 2. And then these, I think, have a 30-pound each weight limit, and I did 2. But so now it sits in there, and it's not so like ugly when you take it off the wall.
So brilliant.
Okay, now this one, I'm changing to a white hook because it doesn't bear weight. It just keeps it against the wall.
Yes. Okay.
So but then I don't know, that my handyman found, hold on, let me move this. I have to do something about the scuffs it's making on the walls, and I put the jump board in there. But my handyman found these guys.
Okay.
I don't know what they are. Shelf things, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Just L brackets, yeah.
Okay, so that works perfectly because that's the mat for the tower, and I hate having anything on the floor.
Yes.
And then whatever, that's there. So that's my most proud part of any of this.
Absolutely. I totally screenshotted that yesterday.
Okay, and then I have this room. Oh, hold on. Oh, you can't really see it. Well, anyway, you can't really see that, but I did navy blue, like everything.
There you go.
And then this is like the little office that I've got to fix. That light is going to be hung up there.
Cool.
And then,
Love it.
I have
Love
these.
it.
Yay!
That's so exciting.
It is exciting. It's good to have a place to go because I've always had a home studio, and I love the home studio because I don't know, it was just like nice to be there. It was nice to have it in my
Convenient.
home. Like
Yep.
I thought I was upset when I had to move the studio. I didn't want to. I had to. And now I love having a place to go. Like I actually get dressed properly and like get myself ready and go somewhere, and it's helped my mood a lot. Like I'm not as depressed. Like I'm a little bit more
Right.
yeah. So
It's a bit of a ritual, right? Like
yeah. It's good to have a place
that's
to go.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been good. Yeah.
That's a refreshing turn in the conversation because I just feel like it was getting pretty heavy there for a minute. Like I'm loving the space.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, but it's good to see you. Good to see everybody.
Yes,
Hi,
good to see
everyone.
you.
Yeah. I don't want to take all your time here.
No, it's okay. I have nothing planned, so this is perfect.
Okay.
Actually, I was gonna ask, are you doing anything with Momentum Fest this year? Like, are you like an ambassador? Are you gonna go or like
I
anything with?
don't know because I got to figure that out. What is it in May? June? June.
June, I think. Yeah, I'm not able to go this year at all. Like I'm,
I don't
but
know if I'm gonna be able to go either. I would love to go and have like a table and everything again. But I haven't been able to wrap my head around whether or not that's going to be feasible
right.
this year with the calendar and the schedule and everything like that.
Yeah,
So it'll, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
yeah,
I gotta start thinking about that though, because that's going to be here before we know it.
right. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm
Very
so
cool.
like into like all these things right now. Like there's so many things that I have to do. Okay, so I lost my Facebook page.
Oh, did you?
I accidentally took myself off as an admin on Facebook, and I can't get back on. So if anybody has a Facebook contact, please DM me and let me know. All I need is a person at Facebook to just flip the switch. But
Yeah, a
finding
human
a
being.
person is so hard. A human being is so hard.
Yeah,
So I've been dealing
that's
with
such a
that, and
pain.
then my Google page, like all these things, and they're just like so hard. Everything is so hard.
Are you still getting gear out? Are you still doing stuff with Pilates and like the blog and stuff, or what's
I
happening with that?
haven't, I've been neglecting that a little bit, but now I'll be able to get more stuff going again
Yeah.
because I was moving around so much and they were doing construction and like not construction, but they were like, painting and doing all this stuff.
Mhm.
So I had to have this, I couldn't have anything out, and so I wasn't promoting anything because I couldn't really like get it together in order to like make orders and stuff. And
Yeah.
I didn't have anywhere to put it. So now that I'm officially moved in, I should
Hmm.
be able to start doing more stuff. I'm gonna start releasing some stuff probably in the next month.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and then that's another thing, the website. So I've got to like get the website, going, but that's like a
Yeah.
whole other bear. It's a lot.
It's a lot. You have time. You just
I
take it in
know.
stride.
I need to make a list. I'm a list person. I like the cross out process.
Yes, do you ever write stuff on that you've already done just so you could cross it off just to make
Yeah.
yourself feel good? I do
And
that
look,
too.
with nice pens, pretty pens, you have to have a good pen.
Right. Yes,
It's like
I
having
do.
a good cup for water. Like I'll drink water if I have a pretty cup. Yeah, exactly. I'll
Yeah,
write a list if I have a good pen.
right.
It's important.
So funny.
Yeah, I like
Yes, that's
you
awesome.
did your walls recently in your studio, right?
Well, no, actually, I moved. So I was in the
Oh,
front room, and then I moved to this room here. So if you look at like really, really low down on my old personal victory page on my page, this was the back wall that I used to do all my like when I had my one wooden reformer. I used the space,
oh,
and it was just in here. And then when COVID hit, I pitched to the business owner here, Andrew, to like flip the room into a Pilates studio, bought the
okay.
equipment and built my studio. And now that other room, well, with COVID, we made it like a room for physio and stuff and moved me back over into this shared space. So I'm in a bigger room.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
That looks great.
And his daughter comes in and rides a bike when there's a client here. So,
Cool.
anyway, yeah. So a bigger
It's so
shared space.
spacious.
I know it's awesome. I love it. And the person I share it with is never here until like 1 o'clock anyway. And I'm here from 5 in the morning. So I still got
whole spot to myself.
Cool. I love that color though. The color of the walls is nice. It looks good on your
Yeah,
video too.
thank you.
So that's something else I was thinking about, like, because now we do so much online and, you know, and
Yes.
with Instagram. So it's like you kind of like need like a wall, you
Yes,
know,
I
like
know. It's so
a
true.
background. So that's my,
Well, yeah, I love it. I love your Pilates is awesome there too.
but yours looks good. I noticed that. It looks good.
Well, the struggle though is that this wall is a mirror,
Yeah.
and that wall over there's a mirror. So like I really only have this one wall to work with for stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so like you gotta
Those are good
put.
mirrors though. I've been shopping for mirrors too.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I'm not in love with the mirror. My clients are afraid of the mirrors, so I've had to like educate people on how to find cues and stuff, and not just look at their belly that's sticking out when they're doing an
Oh,
exercise
that's a
and get
good
them out of
point.
that headspace, right? So,
So I feel like I'm so used to using mirrors because we were like in my first training program, we didn't have mirrors. There was no mirrors. They said you got to feel it. They didn't want mirrors in the studio at all.
mhm,
And my classical training program, they were all about the mirrors. Mirrors everywhere. Got to have mirrors everywhere, not for the client to look at themselves, but for you to be able to see them from every angle so that you could cue and correct. But
gotcha.
you're right, they get distracted by it.
Yes,
And then they're
they
doing
do.
something and their head's like this, looking in the
Yeah,
mirror. And you're like, well,
right,
that just totally blows the whole purpose of that exercise.
right.
Now we got to go
Yes,
fix that neck.
I know. It's so true. So like I'm like, so, but it's like like Katie just put, it is a tool, and I'm really, it's becoming part of the education process in a session for people. It's like, okay, do this exercise, take a peek at yourself. Is that straight yet? There, now you're straight. Now look straight ahead again. Does that, remember what that feels like? Okay, now I'm
Yeah,
starting, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm starting to get them to use
I
the
like
mirror
that.
instead of like look at what they don't like about themselves in the mirror,
Right.
because that's all that some people see, right?
That's a really good point because I feel like, you know, we videotape ourselves and do all of this and whatever. And looking back at the way that you look doing it is so helpful for your own, like, you know, improvements or whatever,
Right.
alignment. So for them, yeah, for you to teach them to look at it that way, that's really smart.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, they dreaded it when they came in here. They're like, "Ah, there's too many mirrors." Right? I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll be fine, right?
Yeah. No, that's good because I'm trying to decide whether or not to get them. I think I'm going to get some.
Yeah, get some. It's,
Yeah.
or even like have one, like, you know, those big huge IKEA mirrors that you could lean against the
Yeah.
wall. Then you could just like move it. Like my home studio had that too, where it's just like, let's shift it over here so you can use it for an exercise,
Yeah.
get it out of the way so you're not distracted by it, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
there's other ways. There's so many ways to work around it.
Yeah. I keep hearing about that IKEA mirror. I almost got that IKEA mirror, but I feel like we all have that. We all know about that IKEA mirror. All
Yeah,
the Pilates
yeah,
teachers.
they all do. I sold mine, so
Yeah.
otherwise, it, you know, kind of far.
That's funny.
Yes, man. This day's going really fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm gonna. There's a topic I was gonna talk about, and I might just throw it out to you, just since you're here. Do you got a
Okay.
minute?
Yep.
Okay.
I got plenty of time.
Okay. So when Michael Johnson was on yesterday, he was said that one of the things he had to do was he had to prove himself, right? And he used the term like I had to prove myself because like whether he's a male teacher, you know, he was like he wasn't a dancer, he was someone who wasn't in the Pilates world. He was a Wall Street guy who
Uh-huh.
came in because Pilates was helpful for all of his sports. Like his like he did Pilates in Utah, came
Yeah.
to New York, was a banker, did Pilates, loved it, decided to do teacher training, and then spent the rest of his life feeling like he had to prove himself.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay. Yes.
yeah, because I was in marketing and communications. I worked
Yeah.
at, I think when I first, my first when I first started Pilates, I think like seriously, I was in a PR firm. I think I was at the museum when I did my first teacher training program. I was the director of marketing and communications at our big art museum here in Miami.
Yeah.
And I was with a bunch of physical therapy students
Mm-hmm.
program that I was doing partnered with like the physical therapy department.
Wow.
They would do part of their like electives or something at the place that Polestar Pilates, which is their international headquarters here in Miami. So that's where I started. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm like this like marketing chick, like, oh, I just want to like learn Pilates a little bit better, like I just want to like
Right.
learn fun, like whatever. And these people are like, talking,
Dropping analogy terms.
and I'm like, I don't even understand what you guys are saying right now. And my mom was,
Yes.
look, you're probably not gonna pass this. Like, don't be hard on yourself. It's okay.
Bracing for impact. Yes.
Yeah, it was really a lot. And I still feel like I finished it and had no idea what I was doing in a lot of ways, because you don't know what you don't know, kind of.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm looking
Yeah.
back, I'm like, what was I even doing? But one thing somebody once told me was, you know more than your clients.
Yes.
So just keep reminding yourself of that.
Yes.
And then just keep learning, because it goes away when you actually,
Right.
like, the more that you practice, the more that you take workshops, the more that your certification is nothing but a license to learn, right? It's just,
Well
you
said.
know everything at that point. You're just, okay, now you know enough to go start this journey. Like, I'm
Start
still learning,
journey. Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
And then enter the classical like world, then it's a whole other thing of like proving yourself. But at that point I was a more confident teacher because I'd already gone through all of that. I think we all probably, I think if you don't feel that way, then there's a problem. I mean, prove it to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if you,
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I mean, not in terms of being like insecure and not good enough and whatever, that whole thing, but more of like, more to learn, more to know.
Yes.
Like,
Mhm.
we're never done. You're never
Right.
at where you topped
Right.
off.
I'm screenshotting that line. Someone just resaid what you said there about certification is a license to learn. So smile. 1, 2, 3. Hey. Nice. Okay, cool. That'll come back up later. Um, so my story is a little bit different, but there's still a sense of needing to prove myself. And for me, I was already in the Pilates world, sorry, already in the personal training world.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
even though I was in the personal training world, like coaching, instructing, I was treated like I was new to movement.
Right.
I was treated like I was a new teacher. So I always felt like I had to prove to everybody that I can teach. I'm learning a new language,
Yeah.
but I can still teach. I'm still able to, like, I know what a body is. I know how to get people, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I was always being treated like, well, you're just a baby teacher. It's like,
Yeah.
no, no, I'm like a mature teacher. I'm just learning this language right now.
Right.
So I felt like I always had to kind of like assert myself to say like, okay, I'm new to this Pilates game, but I'm not new to teaching and helping people to move.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember in my second certification, like, I went in obviously, like, with teaching, knowing how to teach and having, a full client list and everything like that. But then they encouraged us, like, okay, forget about everything that you've learned and enter the,
Yes.
like you
Yeah.
are. But it was still kind of hard to put that away,
Yes.
when you know.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate that. It's like if you're taking golf lessons, you gotta forget everything you know about
Right.
golf, or you're not gonna improve your swing. So I appreciate that. But then when people kind of like,
When they impose it on you. Right.
yeah, I'm like, no, I'm not feeling that. But
I mean, I look at that both ways too, because, like, yeah, I could see how, like, if you have a certain level of expertise, then you don't want to be treated like less than that, sort of. But
you lost your audio. Sorry,
oh,
Tracy,
am
we
I
lost
back?
your audio there. Yeah. Yeah,
Am I
you're back.
back? Am I back? Okay, sorry, I had a phone call. I think it's my sign guy. But sometimes you'll get clients who, they are not unteachable, but unteachable. Like, they don't want you to teach them.
Yes.
Their last
Because they know everything.
them
Yes.
this, and this is the way to do it. Why are you teaching me this way? My last teacher taught that way. So
Yes.
you also want to, like, open yourself up to the process, and, like, so it's
Yes.
good to come in almost like not pretending not to know anything, but
Mm-mm. Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's we're saying it's funny because we're saying both sides of the same thing. Like, you want to present with the humility and the willingness to learn, but you don't want to be under thumb as this newbie who
Mhm.
knows nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely get that. I think, and particularly with certification programs, depending on the one you're in, you just kind of like, like silence, suffer in silence.
Yes.
Which is not, and although it depends on the one that you're in, because some of them are, they love that. They're like, oh, well, I remember one of the certification, they'd be like, oh, you're a massage therapist, right? What do you think about this? And they would like,
Yes.
and it was more like collaborative, and it was like
Right.
everybody, yeah, that was full start. That was a good one.
Yes.
They were very into, you know, like, oh, this person's a yogi. How do you all approach this? And it was very like, oh, okay, there's, you know, 700,000 different ways to approach this problem. Let's talk about which one you would take instead of there's one right way. It was never like that,
Yes.
you know? So that was cool.
Right.
I would say,
Yeah.
Then we think about these things and think about how do we want to be and how do we want to treat people. So it's, yeah, to think about that.
The that's a perfect segue into the other thing that Michael was saying yesterday. We're talking about the future of Pilates, right? You're just like coming alongside me as I'm downloading yesterday's conversation. So he was saying the future of Pilates. He's like, what does that really look like? And he said connection. And the other thing he said before was kindness.
Oh, I like that.
Right. So connection is like you and I, you're in Florida, I'm in Toronto right now. Like us Pilates people are sharing ideas and collaborating and figuring out ways and celebrating new spaces. And these things are, that's the future of Pilates, like these connections where it's not a gatekeeper teaching an apprenticeship program and this is the only person and only learn from me. We're now recognizing that, like my wife's saying there, we could be humble and learn, but be confident in what we already know. Like we can be all these things at the same time.
Yeah.
And the other side is kindness, right? So now everyone is coming at it from different places, and we don't have to hate on the yoga person who's learning Pilates, or the pole dancing person who's learning Pilates, or the banker who's learning Pilates. Like we can all be kind, and everyone can actually learn and grow together.
Yeah, and learn from them even the same in this.
Yeah, that's the next level, learning from them. Like I'm just saying, just don't be mean to them. Like
yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about, the next level future of Pilates. And it's also, I think I've been thinking about that in terms of like what the way that I speak to clients. Like sometimes you're so, like if you go to a doctor and the doctor kind of like blows you off and doesn't really explain something because they just what they're talking about, but you really don't leave feeling like icky and like, oh God, this is terrible. And so I think about like, for instance, when I'm with a teacher and okay, so let's say I'm like, you know, like that. And they're like, well, yeah, because your head is forward and you're in bad posture. We got to fix that. Versus like, okay, now let's look in the mirror. Like, okay, let's like look at the positive points. And I don't know, there's like, talk to people and then they take you on that journey of like, okay, now what happens when you push back, like chin into your, and that journey of it. But it's easy sometimes to just be like, when somebody walks in to be like, well, yeah, because you have an imbalance. Duh.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But you've got to, you know, I don't want to be, I felt terrible when teachers have spoken to me that way before, where they're just like, yeah, because you need to fix that foot. I mean, look at it. You don't have any connection in your foot. Versus the way that you speak to people and just being more thoughtful about the word.
For sure.
I mean, I work towards that because I am short and quick and, you know, and I don't realize sometimes how that comes across. I think that's something that I like need to work on it when I'm thinking about the future and what part I want to be.
Yes. Those words are powerful, right? And in your case, I know you enough to know that that's coming from a place of kindness, of wanting to help someone. So you're jumping to the solution.
Yeah.
Instead of taking them on that journey of discovering it within their body. Like I could tell you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
in the past.
Say it again?
But it can also, if you're too quick with it, it can make them shut down where it made down in the past.
Yeah, exactly. Like you walk in, you have your purse on the right side all the time, and that's why your spine's always messed up. You're never going to get that roll up because you have a curvature in your spine. It's like, okay, great, thanks. Like, yeah, I'll just leave then since I'm never going to get this. Or you can take them on that journey of discovering, like, how do we correct that and what's the best for your body, right? So, yeah, there's one of the ladies doing a teacher training program here was saying something along those lines where the lady was just saying, oh, you're never going to get this because of this. And like your spine's like this and your back's like this. And we'll try these exercises and see if it works.
Yeah, it's
hard. What I mean? And yeah, it's hard.
Words are impactful.
Yes. There's a few comments here I got to flow through here. Peabody Stephanie says, us Pilates people need to collaborate like you're saying. I love the kindness challenge too. In my opinion, it should have always been this way. Yes, but it wasn't. Not necessarily to be rude. Not necessary to be rude.
Yeah.
And then Lindsay saying, Pilates instructors are so often trained to be critical without considering the impact.
That's true.
That's so true.
We always just look for the problem, look for the issue, look for what we need to fix. Like,
Yep.
easy to go right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so centering on kindness is really cool to see, like, you know, him saying that and just seeing how that plays out for us. But yeah.
There are people out there who live that.
Yes.
Like, that's something that I've started to realize too, especially like this last year, is there's certain ways, you know, people or whatever, things or ideas or whatever that just rub me the wrong way. And like, the great thing about social media especially is that you don't have to have them in your life.
Exactly. We
Unfollow,
forget.
mute,
Yes.
block.
And, right.
And all of a sudden it all goes away. So like, it's amazing. So you got to be careful with that, because you don't necessarily just want people who have your same views there, right?
Right.
But
Yes.
you know, so sometimes, let's say there's like this certain thing going around and everybody's about it, and every time I see it, I get all like with them, and screw them, and now I'm all upset the rest of my day over this. And then I start to realize, wait a minute, every time I see this person doing it, I'm jumping on that bandwagon, and now I'm not. I shouldn't be worried about. You know what? I'm just gonna mute them for a little bit, and then when they're done with this, then you know it won't funnel into my life anymore. And then then you gotta also know when to unfollow and block or whatever. But I think that's like the whole kindness thing. Like, just find the kind people and let, you know, it's like all energy, right? So if you're letting people into your circle, into your world, and whatever, who are bringing in that negative energy, just block that off. Boom, done.
Yes. Absolutely. That's a great strategy. And I would add to that, the flip side is, how do you be proactive about it? Like, who do you surround yourself with so you don't even have to go there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I choose like you said, on the other side is like you block everyone out and you have people with just your idea, and then that's just as dangerous, right? So, but there's people that we know are healthy, who have different perspectives.
Yeah.
How do we, you know, choose those people?
Yeah.
Surround yourself with those people and block the rest of the people out.
Yeah, take classes like with them, or just talk to them more. Like, you know, I don't know, you just kind of bring them into your world, and they inspire you.
Right.
Yeah. Every once in a while I feel like a rut where I'm just like not inspired right now, and that's when I kind of take a little cleanse of all of that. Like, okay, what am I surrounding myself with?
Yes.
Start taking classes again with different people, and that always inspires, like gets me like a new, and also because then you get new inspiration of finding like those kind people, because they're out there and they're out there. They're important to have in your life, and you know, focusing on them.
Yeah. That's good.
That's all I got.
So no, that's lots of good stuff. And it's interesting because you're in a new chapter too, right? So you've gone from your in-home space to a new space, and then now it's a new opportunity to surround yourself with different people, right? Like, I mean, who geographically, is that a different area? Like, you know.
So that was another thing about moving from the home studio. In my home studio, I could do that really easily. Like, I only had, all of my clients were referrals of other clients. So they were all really nice, good people who were like loving, like family. So now our public space. So then I'm like, well, what do I do if they want a session, and like, like I kind of struggle with that a little bit. And I'm not going to advertise or market publicly. Like, I'm still doing one-on-one referral, whatever. That I'm not like spreading that wide net. I'm like a place for, you know, Pilates people and Pilates teachers. They can rent out space. They can do their thing. I'm still keeping it like my, you know,
your space,
my world, kind of. Yeah. But you still have to like think about that a little bit, like how to. It does a little.
Yeah. this that was part of the conversation with Letitia earlier this week. We were saying like when you get to a point in your business where you have like strangers coming in, like I mean like how do you still make sure that they have that same experience and they're capturing what you want them to experience in your space?
Yeah.
When it, like, you know, referrals could, now that you have an actual space, yes, you're going to take your referrals and stuff, but
Yeah.
someone's going to walk by, see you,
Yeah.
and then walk in and then
Yeah.
become your client, and they're not going to know your philosophy and not know anything about Pilates and not know about your soul. Like, they're not going to know you. They're just going to want to feel better in their back. And then how do you
Yeah.
get
I mean, that's
them on board, right?
exciting, like to get to know people like that. So like I kind of like I used to work at Equinox and I loved it. I love teaching Pilates.
Same, yes.
Because they give every one of their members a complimentary Pilates session to try Pilates and then, you know, do, you know, then hopefully they would want to end up doing privates or whatever. But the cool thing about that is I met hundreds of people in my time there, first timers. They knew nothing about it.
Yes.
They didn't even seek out Pilates. They were just like, oh, free thing, fine, I'll go. And they'd walk in like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
And such a cool experience. So I do like that. I think that's really fun. And they come in from, I mean, people who are just like all, you know, like weight trainers, and then you get people who haven't worked out in, you know, 30 years, and it's just, it runs like, you know, again, it's fun. It's fun.
Yes.
To not really know anything about somebody and then be like, okay, like what are we gonna, it's like a game sort of, you know, like
Yeah.
fall in love with Pilates. And then they'll be like,
Yes.
what is it? They lie down on the reformer and you can just see their eyes go like, this is good.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
hooked. I can
Gotcha.
tell right now you're hooked. And then they're really like this. And you're like, yeah, I know.
Yes.
See you tomorrow.
Yes.
So that part will be exciting, having my own space, and maybe I should look at it as more of an exciting thing rather than like a scary thing.
Yeah. No, it's not a scary thing because you just said it like it's like you're playing the game of like how fast can I make you fall in love with Pilates?
Yeah.
Go. Like, you know, like
you get a little bit of information about them. What are their injuries? What are their goals? Okay, let me fix in my head. I'm definitely going to do this exercise with you. And then you're like, tell me that. This is what this is for you. And they're like, this is good. And you're like,
yep.
It's awesome. That's why I started teaching.
Yes.
They're like, I want to do this every day. And you're like, that's how I got here. What happened?
That's the main thing.
And now I'm sitting. I used to be sitting at a freaking desk, and look what I'm doing right now. I'm sitting in this freaking studio talking to you at 11:30 on a Friday about Pilates.
I mean, wasn't sure what day was either. Yeah,
life doesn't get better than that, right?
Right, exactly. So that's like we're talking about the main thing being the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. That's what we were saying earlier, and you just capture that. Just like you love it, and you're trying to get other people to love it. Full stop.
The best thing in the world.
Yeah.
We're all so lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm reading this comment here. That's how we do it at our gym. So every new member gets a complimentary Pilates session. So you meet so many people from so many walks of life. And that's fun, right? Like,
yeah. Some of the instructors hated it because it was like, you know, you didn't get the same like pay rate and stuff like that. But I'm like, it's cool to meet.
Yeah, I love meeting new people. I love hearing their stories, you know, so I love trying to solve their problems, right?
Yeah. I can't really read the
very cool. What do you all think of $1 workouts? I don't know. What are $1 workouts?
I don't like $1 anything.
No.
Unless I'm getting it. Wait, hold on. Am I taking the $1 workout or giving the $1 workout?
Yeah, let's I don't know. Are we just talking about the concept of just like a complimentary session, or just something to
the complimentary? Okay, so I did the complimentary session with my clients in my private space also, because they were all coming in as qualified leads. They were not random people coming into my house. It was somebody's friend who wants to try Pilates. Okay, and then my theory was get them to my house. Let me see how we do together. Introduce them to my dog. Like, you know, see how that works, and if I even want to work with this person, and if they even are a good fit for me, and then get them, if I want them, and they want me, get them booked in that session. And then all my clients are lifers. Like very, very rarely does somebody like buy a package and then go away.
Right.
So that in that case, I think a complimentary session is great. In the case of these gyms that do it, it's also just to get them in there, you know. I think that's great. And I think where people run into problems is like a public facing studio where people are just taking the free session and running. Like that, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't necessarily do it in this studio space.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's all about the dog intro, Sunny's.
Yeah, you gotta see how they react to the dog. If they throw the ball, they're a keeper.
Too funny.
Just ran over me right now when I said that.
Yeah.
Where's the ball?
Yes. Row.
Row. She's like wagging her tail under.
She gonna say hi?
Let's see, Row. Hold on. How do I turn this? There she is.
It's so cute.
Roro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Tracy, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Yeah. Fun.
Dude, that was so easy to just yap with you instead of going through all my heavy content. That was good. And we still hit it too. So
boom. That's how we do it. Knock it out.
Yes.
Y'all, get her done. Weekend.
Thank you. Okay, see you there. Too funny. Blaze fly. Yeah, there's so many different ways to do an intro session. Some people do like a discounted, like first session at a discount, and then do it. Some people do it for free like that. It all depends on what I've done free sessions just to get people in to see the value, and other times I've had people just pay right out the gate because I want them to invest in it. So yeah, I've done it both ways. Okay, so move with AV saying I was thinking $1 consultations rather than free initials, but the concept is clearly a challenge to thought. Okay, I got you. Hi, Jessica. What's up? Yes, I do 3 intros. Yeah, exactly. So special, not free. There's so many different ways to do it, right? A 4 intro. Yeah, it's funny. I used to do a 4 intro. I do a 1 intro now, and that was a Leslie Logan challenge for me. Like I heard her talk about that one time, and for me personally, I'm not knocking the 4 intro. I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could close it in 1 session as opposed to taking 4 sessions to find my words. You know what I mean? Like, so that was just the way that I chose to do it. And I found that that's been effective for me. It's surprisingly effective, funny enough. It's like, do 1 and they're like, all right, cool, let's do it. Let's see you next week. I'm like, yes. I'm like, okay, let's go. So, yeah, so that's, for me, that seemed to work. So I've done 3, I've done 4, I've done 2. And my personal challenge was 1. Sunny's saying I do a try for 30 and then discount the first 3. There's so many, like, it's funny, like in the same way that we do Pilates in different ways, there's no one way to do that. Like you find what works for the way that you present, what works for your population, all those different things, and that's your speed. That's the way you do it. Jessica, I'd love to have you on again and talk about Momentum Fest and what's happening with that for this year. We should probably plan to have you on for another day, or if you want to come on for like 5 minutes now, you can. But either way, Tracy and I did touch on Momentum Fest a few minutes ago, but just before you got here, I think. CS Pilates. Is there anything else that I missed here? Connection and kindness. I think those are the main takeaways for today. Okay, Jess, jump on now. Let's chat for a minute. I don't think I have anyone until 11. Oh, actually, I do have someone now, but let's do it. I'm going to bring you on. Send the request, I think. Let's try again. Oh, it is there. Hey, sorry.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How you liking your snow? What do you
Um,
like?
oh my gosh. Do you know, every time I'm freezing outside shoveling, I think at least I'm not in Canada. Like that is really what I think because
Thank
it's
you.
just got to be colder there. That's what I always think. So I'm doing
Yeah.
okay because I'm not colder than I am now.
Fun fact, on my phone when I have the weather, I have Arctic Circle as one of the weather temperatures, so I can say at least I'm not at the North Pole.
That's a really good idea. See, I have Hawaii as one of my weathers, which I shouldn't have because all I ever do is I look there or San Diego, the places we used to live, and I'm like, oh, oh, oh.
That's so sad.
Actually, it is kind of, I guess. But I will
That's
say it's always like it's sunny and beautiful out here. That's the thing about Denver and Colorado is we get the snow, but then I was out in a tank top, 60 degrees the other day. Like it is gorgeous. So I can't complain.
yeah, yes.
Yeah,
We're so weird, eh? Like the
I know. I know.
it's what
Yeah.
makes us quirky.
I know. And I love your convo about the free thing and what you said about Leslie too, because I can imagine Leslie saying that about
Mm,
get it down to one.
yeah.
I think it is a interesting thing. And I think online presents a whole other thing. Like how I do it is I consider my YouTube channel my free offerings. So
Yes.
when people come and say, can I have a free trial to your membership? I say we
Hmm.
don't offer free trials, but we have a free YouTube channel with hundreds of videos, and that's how you can get an idea of how I teach, and that will always be there, and that will always be an option. Um, so it's interesting to think how you can use the free to
Yes.
guide people, but there's definitely, it can be different than, yeah, 20 years ago when I did a 3 intro package or a free intro
Hmm.
class.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay to change it. You know, you can do a free intro class if you're new for 2 months just for practice for yourself and see how it goes. And
Yes.
you're allowed to then not do it anymore. Like you
Hmm.
aren't tied to that. And don't let clients think that you're tied to that just because you offered it for a while doesn't mean you have to keep offering it.
Right. Well said. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you said that because people get trapped in that and they feel
Yeah.
bad and
Yep.
they don't like the pushback from their clients and they feel they get in this people pleaser mentality where, oh no, they're going to say this, so let me just eat it, and on the next person I'll charge them differently, like, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
you find your workarounds.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it feels good once you land. I think once you land on what feels good to you as an individual, you'll feel that. You know, you finally
Yes.
like lock into, oh, that makes sense to me from a business perspective, just from an individual perspective on how I work and how I live. That makes sense.
Yes.
I can work in that in a comfortable way, and then
Yes.
you'll maintain it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk Momentum Fest in like
Okay.
real quick. So what's going on? I see you're talk about your ambassadors. I've been seeing everyone dropping this ambassador. I'm an ambassador. I'm an ambassador. Like, what are
Yep.
ambassadors?
So that was something when we started Momentum Fest. This will be our 5th year. Somehow we're on our 5th event already.
Definitely.
So when we first started, I like one of my main things was wanting an ambassador program. And when I've been on boards for other programs, I always said we need some kind of ambassador program. So to me, I was always looking back at the Lululemon ambassador program because I'm old
Gotcha.
school and they were the first ones that I knew of who did it before social media even. I would go in the Lululemon store and see
Yes.
the pictures, right? And you're like, who is that? And I want to
Hmm.
be that person. And
I
they
want to
would
be them when
wear,
I grow up. Yeah.
yes. And they would wear Lulu when they were teaching. And that made sense to me because they were all local. Like that's what I really liked about it is in each individual
Yes.
store, they were promoting their local community. Lulu was really good at that back in the day about
Hmm.
promoting and getting into the local scene. And
Yes.
I knew there's only so much reach that, especially as a brand new event in 2018, there was almost only so much reach that I could have and that social media could have. Like we needed people who believed in what we were doing in their studios talking about it and in their hometowns
Yes.
talking about it. And the flip side is I wanted to support them because they're really awesome people doing things locally who aren't on social media and who don't want to be on the stage teaching. They're just doing some really cool things.
Thank
So
you. Yes.
that's kind of where the ambassador program came from, was let's get some people in here who we can support and who also then in turn selfishly are going to support us and promote us to their people and their studios and locally grassroots. So that's kind of where it came from. And now it's so fun. And we try to really promote and shout out our ambassadors. And then we do some special fun ambassador stuff when they come to the event. And that's what it is.
Love it.
Yeah.
And like, in my opinion, the people who are your ambassadors are big dogs too, right? So it's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in a sense, we're almost like NBA scouts, and we're like, we know the people that are really good out there. You just haven't seen them yet.
Yes. Yeah. And it's my favorite. I was just telling my husband yesterday, I'm like, that's my favorite part about Momentum Fest is being like, I see you doing really cool stuff, and let's let everybody else know. Here you go.
Yes.
Like, now you're going to go tell everybody else what you're doing because it's awesome.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
There you go.
I know.
So that's our little teaser for the next time you and I get a chance to talk for an hour. Because I have a client who's probably sitting outside the door.
Oh yeah,
for me.
yeah. No, that's great. Yes, thank you. I love everything you do. Thank you all for being here, and always coming on. And I loved seeing Tracy earlier. Thank you for what you do too, Tracy.
Yes. Oh, I lost your. There, you're back. Sorry, was that? Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's just so great to be a part of a community, even though I'm stuck like in the snow in my house, in my basement, by myself.
Yep.
Yep.
I feel you.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much. I'm gonna go look at the temperature in the Arctic Circle right now and feel better about myself.
Sounds good. All right. Talk to you guys soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.